Hello, Matt.
Hi there.
About the game. I still don't really
Oh, man. Okay, you play with... Sick.
This time I'll win.
Nah, I doubt that.
Oh.
I win again. That's another ice cream.
This time I'll win.
Nah, I doubt that.
That's it.
Oh, man.
The athlete wins the day.
One more time.
No, that's enough for me.
All right. Here,
Are you sure?
gambling debts are debts of honor.
I'll give it back to you when I don't need it anymore, okay?
Okay, but make sure my mom doesn't catch you with it. She thinks it's dangerous.
A good slingshot, drawing on the expert knowledge of generations of boarding school students. Miss Miller and the professor are talking intensely. She seems pretty relaxed, by her standards. Miss Miller and the professor are talking intensely. Good morning, Miss Miller. Professor Lucien?
Constable Zellner, how are you? I heard you passed out last night.
Well, not quite. I was poisoned.
Oh.
That wretch!
Who do you mean by that wretch?
That stowaway! That new raven.
The young man can't be the murderer. Constable Oliver had already apprehended him when the shot was fired.
You mean...
Whoever killed the Baroness is still on the loose.
I think I should take my leave. I'd like to rest for a while.
One last question, Professor. Do you think the eye is well protected in the safe in Legrand's cabin?
Of course it is. They assured me that it would take hours of work with heavy machinery to crack the safe. And if Legrand isn't in his cabin, Constable Oliver or I check that everything is in order every hour.
I understand.
I want to go back to my cabin. I'll see you later, Mary.
Oh, of course. See you later.
I didn't want to interrupt your conversation with Professor Lucien so abruptly.
I don't know what's wrong with him.
Learning that there's still a burglar on board seemed to frighten him.
He was so relaxed the whole time, and then...
And then the stupid Swiss constable came by and made him anxious.
Oh, I didn't mean that.
No matter. I'm sure he'll calm down and come back soon enough. May I ask you a few questions?
Of course.
You and Professor Lucien seem to be having a lively conversation.
Oh, yes. He's an expert in ancient Egyptian art and preeminent in hieroglyphic research. He's the head of the Egyptian department in the British Museum, you know. And he's going to open an exhibition at the Egyptian Museum in Cairo.
Right. For the eye.
They had planned on exhibiting both jewels together for the first time in decades, but that's not going to happen now, sadly. I think it's quite upsetting for him.
We're working hard to ensure that at least one eye will be on display.
I know. I'll ask Lady Westmacott if she'd like to participate in the opening of the exhibition. I think it would be good for her.
And Professor Lucien will surely offer you a private tour. The Baroness's butler said that he was on the forecastle as well?
Yes, he was standing on the other side of the deck smoking a cigarette.
Was he on the forecastle the whole time?
I'm not sure. He was there, and later he was on the side deck with us. Oh, yes, he looked after you while you were unconscious. He unbuttoned your collar and held your head while the doctor checked you.
But you can't say for certain whether he came from the forecastle with you and Professor Lucien, or afterwards.
Well, no. But where else could he have come from?
How was last night for you?
It was awful. I was having a conversation with Edgar, Professor Lucien, here on the forecastle. Then I wanted to look for the lady and went forward via the side deck. When I passed the Baroness's cabin, I heard a muffled scream.
You heard a scream?
Yes. I thought the Baroness probably had a fall. I went to the door and listened for a moment. Since I couldn't hear anything, I knocked on the door and asked whether she was all right. There was no answer.
Interesting. And then?
I didn't know what to do, so I tried to open the door. It was locked. I saw the Baroness's butler, Mr. Inch, on the forecastle. I thought he might have the key and went back. On the way, the bobby crossed my path, and then Edgar, who wanted to check the safe. I explained the situation to him, and then the alarm went off.
Did you report that to Inspector Legrand?
Yes, last night. He was very interested and took a lot of notes. But I wanted to look for Lady Westmacott, and he let me go without further delay. He said that he'd take down my full statement today.
I understand.
Do you think the man from the train also killed the Baroness, Constable Zellner?
I don't know yet.
It's horrible. Explosions, thieves, murderers. This isn't the right place for a lady and a little boy.
How is Matt? He seems happy enough.
After all the commotion, he's already back to his old self again. But I haven't told him about the murder. That would be a bit too much for him.
I think he's made of sterner stuff.
I want to thank you again for what you did on the train. I wouldn't have known.
Everything's fine. Think nothing of it. How did the scream sound?
It was a short outcry, very frightened, as if someone had been startled.
Was it a woman's voice?
Yes, the voice was high.
So it could have been a scream from the Baroness. Possibly because she discovered someone in her cabin.
Possibly.
That person might have threatened her with a weapon, so that she wouldn't scream for help.
Oh, God.
He waited until the coast was clear.
Oh, please, stop it, Mr. Zellner.
You're American, aren't you?
That's correct.
And you moved to England because of the job?
I lived in England before. During the Second World War, I volunteered. I worked in a pharmacy on a U.S. base north of London.
In a pharmacy? Interesting.
Well, it was the war and everyone was sent where they could help best.
Please, go on, Mrs. Miller.
After the war, I studied music in London. I met my husband there. We married and went back to the States together.
He was also American?
No, English. But he said he had problems with his family and he wanted to be as far from them as possible.
And you gave up your studies for him?
Well, yes, I did.
How does it feel to work for such a world-famous person?
The work is very interesting and varied, and it pays well, too.
You are very lucky that the lady offered the position to you.
I just hope she won't change her mind one day. What would become of Matt's education then? I really make an effort to measure up to Lady Westmacott's expectations, but sometimes I feel like I fall short.
Lady Westmacott couldn't ask for a better companion.
I'm saving up as much money as I can all the same. I'd do anything so that Matt doesn't have to give up his new life.
Life as a single mother couldn't have been easy.
It was pretty tough then. I worked from morning till night and it was still only enough for the bare necessities. And I couldn't give Matt all the attention he needed.
And then Lady Westmacott entered your life.
It was like an angel appeared to me. She must have offered me the position out of pity. I had no experience as a carer. She made me a generous offer. I couldn't believe it. And she really adores Matt. She's offered him a good education, and now he has every opportunity in life.
An almost unbelievable story.
I'm still afraid that it's a dream and that I'll wake up one day.
Lady Westmacott dropped a hint on the train that she killed her hero, Partout. What did she mean by that?
Oh, she must have meant the manuscript.
Manuscript?
She always takes it with her. It's an unpublished Partout novel. I once asked her why she never published it. She said that according to her will, the novel's only to be published after her death.
And in it, Partout will be killed?
Maybe. I've never read it. No one has. You'd better ask her yourself.
If you worked in a pharmacy, you would certainly know something about medicines and poisons.
Everything is a potential poison, Constable. It depends on the dose.
Have you ever heard of chloral hydrate?
It's a tranquilizer, isn't it?
I'm asking you.
Lady Westmacott also asked questions like that, for her last novel. But since I've never wanted to kill anyone, I never bothered with things like strychnine and arsenic and all that. I could recommend something for a headache, sore throat, or rash.
That's kind of you, but there's really no need. I'll be seeing you, Miss Miller.
Constable?